Hey Gemini, how y'all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be doing your first half of a general reading here. We're going to start off with some animal energy, but of course, and then get right into the cards. First things first, I got to apologize for janky little voice going on. I am getting over a cold, so that's why I sound a little bit funny, honey. But we going to keep it rocking, all right? So let's see what the animal energy is for July. And thank you, energy for July. Oh gosh. Couldn't have been better. Okay. First of all, I'm feeling a lot of newness. It's like that's the key word. New, right? And then you got the moth, which I could not love more. This energy is very near and dear to me. But I will try to keep it brief because I could literally talk about moth energy all day long. So first of all, the moth for me is very representative of empaths, right? And even if you're not an empath, what this really holds within its energy is being a sensitive feeler, being very sensitive to stimuli, right? Any kind of stimuli, good stimuli, less than desirable stimuli. Because think about it, if you tried to, and I would not recommend doing this, but if you were to try to touch a moth's wings, it's like it feels just really heightened to them. It's very it's like even the smallest little touch. That's what moth energy is, but there's also the moth holds within it, like a beautiful balance of darkness and light, right? Also the moth too, when this comes up for you, they also are about what? Transformation and newness and change, right? They have these, these three stages of being where, they're the caterpillar, and who knows what to do with a, mobile little cactus walking around, right? Then it gets to the cocoon where it goes in and it transforms and comes out into the moth. So it has these three stages of being. So the fact that you got this would also indicate that you are either currently going through this transformative process or that this is in your, direct past here. Now you are, full-fledged moth life. But I have to tell you, if you find yourself, or even if you have been in between transformative states within this energy, it can be difficult. Like when you're in between the cocoon and the moth, or the caterpillar and the cocoon. The moth is like the end game and the end goal. And it is about the process, but the moth is like, when you are in your full-fledged moth energy, you are going to draw a lot of attention towards you. And I mean attraction towards you, quite literally. Okay, quite literally. The Cecropia moth, only lives for 2 weeks. And the Cecropia moth will, emit this chemical or pheromone, whatever it is. I'm not a science lady. But emits this, this chemical that attracts mates. And it literally lives for those 2 weeks it doesn't even have a mouth to eat. Literally lives for those 2 weeks to attract a mate. So when you are in this fully, in full moth formation, darling, you'll be attracting a lot of attention, some of it romantic. People are going to want to be around you. So this is a beautiful place to be when this comes up. But also very sensitive. So you might be being called also just to be a little extra discerning about, who you give your energy to, who's around you. Not because they have ill will, nothing scary like that, but just because you are a lot of people are going to want your time and attention, and you're only human, darling, or only a moth, as it were, right? So it's just about kind of being discerning about that so that you don't overdo it, because moths also can give and give and give until they're completely depleted, okay? Also goes hand in hand with being an empath as well. Anyway, all right, let's see what is going on for my Geminis for first half of July. I gotta tell you, it feels very new. See, Ace of Cups. Remember what I just said about people being really drawn to you right now? It's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? It's very, it can even be surprising because it can happen just like this, like a flip of this, fingers, and you're like, but I didn't even get my hair did. Why am I getting all this attention? It's just kind of like what it is. But Ace of Cups, this is gorgeously mirroring what I just said around that. Ace of Cups is, a couple of things. Number one, it is a supreme, intense, and immense amount of love and wellness. Okay, it's a beautiful thing. This is also a wealth of intuition and psychic information, right? This is a really beautiful energy to come up here when you are experiencing this Ace of Cups in conjunction with this Moth energy here. I really think that you're about to be going on all cylinders, darling, and really be, how can I put this, on demand. Seriously, like the TV, on demand, darling. Everyone is choosing you. Fun. Remember to pace yourself and keep time for yourself, though. That's another aspect of the Moth energy. When they give and give and they don't take enough time for themselves to recharge their battery, right? They got to recharge the battery so that they can turn around and again, have something in the cup to offer people, right? Moths will deplete themselves down to nothing because they'll give and give and give. So just make sure that you are, as you are enjoying this time and energy, right? Make sure to give to yourself in equal space as you are giving to others. It's super important right now, okay? Okay, so we got the 8 of Swords here, repping your air sign self. So this is really fascinating how this is storyboarding already. I can tell you personally that, I've definitely been in this energy and sometimes it can cause us to go in like this 8 of Swords where it's like, oh, what's going on? Because this 8 of Swords is a prison. It's a mental prison, right? Because the swords rule the mind. It's a mental prison of our own making and design, which is another way of saying it's not real. It's something that we do to and by ourselves. And it's really, it can be very simple to get out of this if you first notice that this is what's going on, right? Being that observer of yourself. Because the Moth, Ace of Cups, it's very experiential, right? That's you being an experiencer. But the 8 of Swords, in order to move through this, is first you have to observe that you're doing it. Observe that it's happening, and then move to change it. And this can be done a lot of different ways, but sometimes just noticing it and looking it square in the face, right? Taking this like imposed blindfold off, as it were, is like a real quick remedy. It can happen, especially for air signs like that. It's like, oh my gosh, I love how I just transmuted that energy real quick. That can be the best. That's our strong suit, really. Well, let's see what this, we'll see what this mental prison is about, but it could be about all of this attention and feeling very sensitive to things and feeling like you're giving. Picking up on a certain uncertainty too, like a bit of a shyness, like a bit of a, ooh, should I, would I, could I? And I think it has to do around something new that you're thinking about, a new offer that you're thinking about making or a new offer that you've received. There's something about the new here. And I'm getting that there's a lot of comfort to be found in the old, but the Moth, once it comes out of its cocoon, it cannot re-enter it. That's it. Okay, I just heard that for y'all. Anyway, you got the King of Wands. Woo! King of Wands. I love this. Fire energy here. You've got 2 8s repped here. So you've got the 8 here repped here with the infinity symbol, linked up with the lion from the strength card, Leo energy. And then you've got another 8 here. So 8 and 8. 8 is about abundance, particularly financial abundance. Which is another way of kind of echoing what I was saying about you have a lot going on. Okay, baby, you got a lot going on, and that's just what it is. But it's a beautiful thing. And I got to tell you, I feel like for some of you, because attention is being drawn to this red rose, and we did have this Ace of Cups come up. And then we have this salamander here too, which is about dream time. And the red rose. The red rose. Okay, I'm getting something really, really actually very interesting. It's piquing interest. Because I'm getting this image of the Battle of the Roses, between the Tudors and the Yorks in Elizabethan, well, not Elizabethan, but English history before it went to the Elizabethan era, actually. I'm like getting like a dose of like English history right now, the Battle of the Roses. I really think that there might be romantic, something to do with romance that you're having to make a choice around or be brave around. Something to do with that. And I feel like this is your advice a little bit, where it's like, okay, step into your king energy and be a fire sign about it, right? The air sign is going to get you up in your head like this right now. But if you're a fire sign about it, fire signs I personally love fire signs. I feel like that there's one of their strong suits is that they allow their decision-making process to be based on their, their instinct. Not always their intuition, but their instinct, which is a cousin of intuition anyway. But that's what I'm hearing, to be a fire sign about this and to not get too, over analytical. And you know what? This is harking back to the moth energy as well. But I really am getting this like War of the Roses thing. There could be a decision around romance, could be someone that's coming towards you, someone that you're thinking about going towards. Maybe you have a thing for English history. I don't know why they're showing it to me like that. But yeah, something to do with that. And you're just being, and this could also, let's just keep it real, because this whole romance thing, this could also be, a career opportunity that you love. Because let's just be really real about this. Some people's romance is their work, and that is totally cool. You know what I mean? As air signs, we can rock with that. It's going to be different for everybody. Okay. Let's get a clarifier for this. Ace of Cups here. Gosh. Okay. I feel like that's some sort of metaphor. Did you really just get this, Gemini? 9 of Cups, which is wish fulfillment, paired with the Ace of Cups. You're getting something that you really want. The question is, not that it really matters, but the question is it a surprise? I wonder if it's a surprise. Like, it's really funny how life can work sometimes, and this is the feeling that I'm getting, where sometimes we're focused on something that we really want. It's something very specific, right? Something very specific. And there are other things that we want, but we just kind of let them go. It doesn't seem plausible at the, certain time, whatever have you. And then we end up getting something that we want that we had put on the queue for later. That's what it kind of feels like. You're about to get something, and this really could be, more love here, for sure, or situation that induces great feelings of love within you. But it really feels like you're getting something that you want that you might have, I don't want to say put on the back burner, but there are other things that have been taking your time and focus. Like, I don't really get this feeling that this is something that you've been wishing on a star for recently. You know what I mean? And then it just kind of comes in. It's like, boom, shakalaka, here I am. Why is it coming in now? Because you took your Eye of Sauron and diverted your attention away from that particular point to something else. And then you released it, and now it can come to you. Funny how that works. Oh, hello and goodbye. 6 of Cups, Gemini. 6 of Cups. Let's talk about these. This is making all the sense in the world, my lovely air signs. 6 of Cups is that nostalgic kind of love, darling. So when the 6 of Cups comes up, this is representative of one or two things or both. This is someone that you've had a past life with. And sometimes how that can represent is you meet them and it's like, I am having memories, or I'm feeling things, or I know what you're going to say before you say it, and it makes no dang logical sense. That kind of supernatural deja vu, or it's someone from your actual past, okay? I really feel like it could be both things, or one or the other. But I do feel, strongly that this is something that's got you up in your head, and it's making perfect sense with beautiful Geminis, because your Eye of Sauron, like I like to say, was not focused on this point of this particular new romance coming in, or, someone from the past, whatever, in a new way, that it was able to manifest because you were no longer focusing on it, which is another way of saying, a watched pot never boils, right? I absolutely love that. So this romance here, and I'm getting, more of these romance vibes. This romance here has got you up in your head. I think you're second guessing it a lot. I'm almost hearing, why now? Why now? Why now? Why now? Now, this could be for a lot of different reasons. You could have a lot of other things popping off in your life, which is like, why now? Like, I don't even, it's not that you don't have time for it, but it's almost put you in this place of like, and yes, I do think it's going to have you in your feelings. And I think you're going to be picking up a lot of psychic stuff about this person or this, situation, but it does feel like it's going to just be very, when people say they're overwhelmed, it's not that, overwhelmed is not an actual emotion. Overwhelmed is code for afraid. So yes, it's going to put you in your fear a bit, but why? We're going back to the moth here. Moth energies are experts at embracing the unknown. I feel like there is some fear, and I feel like you're being called to embrace the unknown. There's this whole feeling of fear in the face of change. But it's good change, but sometimes especially when we have a lot popping off or we thought we knew what direction we were going, or whatever that is. It could be like, wow, I want to go back into cocoon and take some more time to process this. But in moth energy, ain't no time for that. Let's get a clarifier for King of Wands. Death, hello. Scorpio energy here to clarify the King of Wands. So I feel like I was feeling this in your last reading, I believe it was y'all, where there's something from the past still in your energy here. This is calling it away. And I'm being called to talk about something very specific with y'all. A lot of times we hear this trope of like, in order to manifest something new, you must release the old. Well, sometimes it doesn't work like that. Let's just keep it real. Let's keep it real, y'all. It doesn't always work like that. And sometimes we can have excrements of this old in our energy, and then something new comes along, and that is what completely releases the old, because it's new stimuli for us to engage with. Just keeping it real. I mean, it's not ideal, but sometimes it be that way, okay? And I really feel like this newness coming in here, this new person, this whatever this newness is that has your heart so activated and in your feelings that is brand spanking new, is going to be the beautiful stimuli that absolutely calls away the old that's in your energy. And from it, again, newness. This is death that leads to rebirth. This is like the tagline of this reading here. New. Okay? New. This is really weird. They keep showing me this, and it's really, really funny. There's this feeling of like, again, back to the War of the Roses. Like there was this battle for the English throne between the Tudors and the Yorks. And it went back and forth, like the Tudor was on the throne, and the Yorks took over, then the Tudors took it back, and then the Yorks almost took it back over. There's this battle between the old and the new that I'm feeling within your reading here. Fascinating. Let's get an oracle for you guys. Maybe some of you are from England. I don't know. Okay. Let's get an oracle for y'all. Yeah. My lovely Geminis. But this is really exciting. This is, sometimes the best things that can happen to us will really put us up at our feels and really get us into a place where it's like, oh yeah. But it's because also we intuitively know that this is going to change our life in a really beautiful way. So I'm obsessed with what came up here. We have a few, okay. Whoa. Okay. First of all, discernment. This is speaking directly to this Eight of Swords. Make sure that what you are feeling and picking up on is from your intuition, Ace of Cups, because it is around your wish fulfillment, Nine of Cups, right? But make sure that you are seeing, feeling, and hearing things clearly in your moth energy, and that your ego is not running the show. Fear can misdirect us. Careful there. Strength. Do you remember when I was speaking of the strength card with the lion energy coming up here? Strength is deriving strength from the divinity within and around you. Now, I have to bring something up with this Aquarius energy here. See how this says star? This is star, so I always kind of associate this with Aquarians and, Leos too, but really Aquarians with the star coming up here. And Aquarian was all over your last reading. And I'm just going to say this, again, you could absolutely just be tapping into your intuition in a newfound way. However, I really think a lot of you are attracting an Aquarius towards you or have an Aquarius in your energy some way, because it keeps coming up for you. Also, being in the spotlight too can be very indicative of Aquarius energy. Then we have truth here. Hello. Again, it's about this discernment and seeing things clearly. Remember what I said. It's not just about experiencing something. It's about choosing to be the observer of your situation, clicking into that bird's eye view, and make sure that you are not sabotaging yourself through fear. Because sometimes when we get exactly what we want, wish fulfillment, almost in the same moment, a fear can be activated within us of losing it. Oh God, I got exactly what I want. And then almost immediately, it's so human of us. Oh God, now that I have it, I can't imagine living without it. Whoop, period. And guess what? You can make a choice around this. See how homegirl, I love how you got like oracle cards, but I feel like it's because this is a bit of a destined event we're looking at here, which is why. So choice here, by the way, dove represents romantic love. Homegirl's looking at her crystal ball. Again, this goes back to discernment, intuition, clicking into your intuition and being an observer of your situation in order to gain clarity. This is something that, I'm really hearing to do with and for yourself. Make a choice not to move from a place of fear, but of discernment and intuition. Point blank, period. All right, lovely Geminis. You guys have got some truly amazing things popping off here. And I'm really excited for you. It's very, 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 very cool. And with that being said, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for, I could go on and on about this, but I really must move on with these white roses and red roses, English history vibes that we're in. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. But most of all, as always, thank you for being you, and be well. Until next time.